XFM. Elis James and John Robbins on XFM podcast.
Thanks for downloading the Elis James and John Robbins show on podcast format. I hope you enjoy it, whether you're listening to it perhaps in a car, on a treadmill, on the loo. We all have our own unique listening habits. Where do you listen to podcasts, Al?
In bed.
Oh.
I haven't worked out how to put podcasts on my phone, so I never do it on the moon.
But you just plug your phone in.
I was joking.
He's not joking.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
He's
joking.
telling the truth.
Stop having a go at me.
What's your favourite podcast that you listen to in bed?
Our one.
Oh, is it? Is that not strange for your girlfriend?
No, I make her listen to it.
Oh.
Because she often comes up with strange excuses for not listening in the morning.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So she listens to the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of friends who say, oh, congratulations on the show, and you're like, oh, thanks.
What's your favourite feature, mate?
Well, don't listen myself, but yeah, probably good. It's probably all right. So enjoy the show. We've got all the regular features. We've got Sacred Cows, Textual Healing, or Winner Plays On. And yeah, go crazy, go nuts.
And do tell your friends that this is the best thing on the internet other than YouTube, which, to be honest, is great. It's so varied. It's just so much on it. I was on it the other day, probably for 40 minutes, just watching different videos. YouTube's absolutely brilliant.
I can't wait for Elis to find out about MySpace.
Oh, yeah, and Vimeo, which is like YouTube, but it's formatted slightly differently. I love it.
All right, well, enjoy this podcast with recommendation from Elis James to watch YouTube. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Elis James and John Robbins podcast. XFM.
Good morning. You're listening to XFM with John Robbins here, and to my left is Lantrasant's youngest qualified scout leader. It's Mr. Elis James.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm very good. I'm also the nephew of Lantrasant's best Welsh medium physics teacher.
What's the medium?
Welsh.
What?
He's a Welsh. If you go to a Welsh school, you call it a Welsh medium school,
Right,
and he teaches physics at the Welsh school in Llantrisant.
So is a university in Wales called Big School?
Yeah.
What did you study at Big School? Classics.
Because I went to university / Big School. My grandmother used to call me the scholar.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Lovely stuff.
But not in a sort of ironic, joshing way. And she'd say, "Oh, the scholar's here." I used to go, "Thank you." But no, he wrote the first Welsh language physics textbook, which I've got about 40 copies, so you can have one if for some reason you need to learn physics again in a language you don't speak.
When I worked in a mail order warehouse in Portbury Docks in Bristol, they used to call me Oxford.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised they didn't call you Shakespeare because you like reading.
No, they go, "All right, Oxford." Oi, Oxford.
Didn't they
pick up that package over there, Oxford? So what you do is you get a number of a parcel you had to go and find, and they would always give me the numbers of the ones in a section called heavy and large, where there'd be like oak tables, door frames, and you legally had to have two people to carry them, or you could do your back in. So they'd always send me off to the heavy and oi, Oxford, 2240. And they call me Gary Lineker.
Why?
Because they thought I looked like Gary Lineker.
You don't look anything
Thanks,
like Gary Lineker. He's a very handsome man, though.
He is.
Didn't they, at Portbury Docks, didn't they used to wrap you in bubble wrap and sort of push you around the shop floor?
Yes, that's correct. I do night shifts and they would wrap, because you had like industrial-sized bubble wrap rolls, like 8 foot long,
yeah,
to wrap doors and ironing boards and sets of weights, and they'd wrap me up in that and sort of punch me half playfully. Which hurts an awful lot more on the inside than it does on the outside, thanks to the packing.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right, man.
Bring back these awful
They were
memories.
great times.
Yeah, we used to, because I was at school in the late 90s, puffer jackets were very big.
Oh, yeah.
So what we used to do is we used to get the small boy and we used to wrap him in all of the puffer jackets in the form, and then we would just roll him around the common room. I mean, that was great.
Well, I always suspected you were a bully.
No, I mean, I wasn't it. I wasn't a bully.
Yeah.
I wasn't a bully, but I certainly didn't step in to stop the bullying.
So you're sort of like the German public, circa 1933.
Yeah.
Great.
That is a very nasty thing to say first thing in the morning, John.
Well, speaking of first thing in the morning, producer Dave went on a stag do to Amsterdam, and he's been up. How many hours have you been up, Dave?
What, at this very moment in time?
Yeah.
Lots of hours.
What a
lots of
legend.
hours.
Ellis loves it.
I
Ellis
love it.
really gets his kicks from hearing about men going out on the
lash,
drink.
mate. I
Yeah.
love it. Because producer Dave, I know for a fact, almost missed his flight because he threw his alarm in Amsterdam.
But you can tell that he's not quite himself, because the first time I've ever known, he's got his top button on his shirt undone.
Yeah.
A bit dishevelled.
So he sort of looks slightly less imposing, slightly less he would sort of break your finger if you looked at his sister. And it's sort of relaxed. And Ellis has also got his top button undone.
Oh, is it? Oh,
So I feel like I'm around two normal guys. Look, it's imposing now. Ellis has done his top button up again.
I just love producer Dave. He's with all of his mates from Stockport. He's in Amsterdam. You all right, mate? Can I have a toaster? How much is that? €4? You're joking, aren't you? I'm going to set fire to this bar, mate. Do what I want.
Excuse me, producer Dave. Could you just keep it quiet?
Stop having a go at me. I'm on a stag do. Do what I want, mate. Stop having a go at me.
We're very relaxed people here, so just get a coffee. Just go, maybe have some cake. Just go to a bar. There's no need to be so loud.
Don't tell me not to be loud. I'm on me mate. Stag do's me best mate. And you're charging me £4 for a toaster. And how much for a pint of beer? You're joking, aren't you, mate? Let's smash a bar up, basically.
I told all you guys we don't sell toasters here. We sell toast, and we sell cake and coffee and maybe a smoke. So I don't have to get the bunch involved. But if you don't keep calming down, maybe visit some of the many cultural highlights.
I absolutely hate Amsterdam. We should have done this stag do in Stockport or Oldham, because you'd have a proper laugh then. When you're out on the Raz in Oldham, you know what I mean? You're just like, all I was like, and I'm like, yeah, and just sort of get a bit punchy because I'm producer David. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I wonder how many XFM Manchester listeners we shed during that 90-second routine.
No, I think they'll be listening to it going, oh, finally, some presenters who are based down south understand the Mancunian state of mind.
FM. Ellis James and John Robbins podcast.
You're listening to Ellis James and John Robbins on XFM, and it's not just producer Dave who's looking tired. John, you've got the sort of dark rings, circles under your eyes, like a haunted man. What's happened to you?
Well, I don't think my anecdote's going to impress you quite as much as Dave's has. Because last night, about 1 a.m, and I was ready. I knew we had the show, so I was ready for bed, and I'd made all my plans, and I was sort of clearing up all my stuff to get ready for bed. And then I thought, hey, I don't know if listeners, you do this late at night when you've got to be up for something, but I thought, hey, John, hey, you haven't seen the film Philadelphia for a while. And I was like, you are right. I should check out the film Philadelphia. Well, hey, why didn't you watch it now? So I, 1 o'clock in the morning, needing to be up in 6 hours' time, thought, yeah, just watch 2 hours of Philadelphia.
Because it's quite a heavy film, Philadelphia.
It is. I mean, I was in quite a state by the end of it. And then my girlfriend Skyped me, and I just immediately hit answer, and the video comes up, and she thought that something terrible had happened because I was also puffy-eyed. She's like, Sandy's just died.
Because is it quite a long? I've not seen it. I mean, you worrying me.
You haven't seen Philadelphia?
Of course, I've seen it, but I saw it at the cinema in 1994, and I haven't seen it since. I mean, I'm not particularly bothered by that, which is why I went to bed at a proper time last night, knowing I had to be up early.
So yeah, I'm a bit tired, but for far less rock and roll reasons.
Yeah, I mean, producer Dave, he's using the songs as an excuse just to rest his eyes for 30 seconds. Oh, I'm just so proud of him because he's still in. He hasn't had a shave, but that's fine.
Ellis loves nothing more than stories of sort of men dealing with any type of adversity and putting in the extra yard.
Yes, that is definitely going the extra mile.
Yeah.
Because when I was revising at school, my mum would come in. She'd go, "I think it's better that you maybe go to sleep and have plenty of sleep so you're nice and fresh for the morning." And I'd be like, "Okay," thinking I haven't done World War II yet, and the exam is tomorrow. And then my dad would come in and go, "Have you got very much to do yet? Still?" And I'd go, "Haven't done, 1939 to 1945, the second paper basically." And he'd go, "I'll make you some coffee. Why don't you go the extra mile?" And that was my dad's way of saying, stay up all night revising, will you, for crying out loud, because you clearly haven't worked hard. So I love that. I love people working hard, putting the hours in, sort of boxers who do more skipping than other boxers. Daley Thompson saying, I train twice on Christmas Day just in case any of my rivals train once. That's what I'm talking about.
Elis James and John Robbins podcast on XFM.
Now, today's text topic reminds me, a few weeks ago I discussed having been to a friend's wedding, and there I met up with some old friends from uni. And one of them reminded me of the night where we got back quite late from a night bar. I dare say it was almost midnight.
Yeah.
And we raided.
Today's getting ready to go out.
And we sort of really hungry, and we sort of went down, and there's like shared kitchens, so everyone's got their food in there, but there was no appropriate food. So we invented, using sort of in a ready, steady cook type fashion, we invented what has become our favourite sandwich, which is the peanut butter and jalapeno sandwich on white bread. Oh. Which I honestly cannot recommend enough. It's a taste sensation. You get the vinegary, piquant hit from the jalapenos, but you also have the wonderful peanut butter base.
Crunchy peanut butter?
Either. Crunchy's slightly better, I think.
Okay. I mean, wow. I'm a bit more sort of pedestrian in my food mixing. I was big into the early 90s riff of all bran and Cocoa Pops in the same bowl.
Is that a thing?
I made it a thing.
Right.
I mean, it was only me doing it at my cousin's house because my mum wouldn't buy all bran. But
that's not particularly wild combo, is it?
It's all right. I'm not producer Dave.
It's just
Stop
sort of
having a go at me.
Two types of cereal.
Yes.
So basically, you would see muesli as an absolute
combo.
groundbreaker.
Yeah. But
raisins and oats in the same bowl?
I don't believe it. I won't believe it.
So today we want to hear your sort of recipes or weird food combinations that you've invented and have either been an absolute disaster or have become a staple part of your diet.
XFM. Elis James and John Robbins on XFM podcast.
Good morning, you're listening to Elis James and John Robbins on XFM, and this week on Twitter and Facebook we asked for your strange, weird and wonderful food combinations, and we've had a couple of belters in response to your peanut butter and jalapeno sandwich. Sadie Hassler on Facebook just said peanut butter and jalapenos ? And then just loads of swearing. But
Can I have a look at the swearing?
So clearly,
wow.
Sadie Hassler she's amazed at it, but we've had a couple of belters on Facebook in particular. This is from Andy Nakonechny. My mum used to make me Florida salad sandwiches when I was in primary school.
I like it. It sounds nice.
Well, Florida salad is mainly comprised of oranges and mayo.
Oh, that is absolutely horrific.
Yeah. Oh, how I longed for ham and cheese like the other children. I'm not sure whether she was trying to introduce me to new tropical foods or just make sure I got my 5 a day, but I swear to this day I must be the only person in the world who has ever had Florida salad sandwiches. But, I mean, and this is the detail that I really like about this story. Oh, and she made them the night before just to make double sure all of the juice soaked into the bread, which made them impossible to eat with your hands.
Oh, is he saying he liked them?
No, he's just saying he ate them because he had nothing else. Yeah.
Wow.
I used to have to scoop it into my mouth with my hands.
That's. I feel now a bit sick. One of the ones that I noticed was someone saying they like banana and mayo.
Banana and curry. I've had from
What?
Gary Slaymaker. He makes curry and then he just slices bits of banana and puts I mean, unless you're in training for a weightlifting competition, there is no excuse for that, I don't think.
I am not a huge fan of bananas. My mum used to make us mashed banana mountains, which is banana mashed up with milk and raisins on. Is that mad or is that a thing?
I don't like bananas at all. I haven't eaten a banana since 1982, so I can't comment. I try not to be one of those fussy people who has phobias and like things in inverted commas, but I wouldn't, if I was giving you a lift, I wouldn't let you eat a banana in the car.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
And if you did start eating a banana in the car, I'd scream like a woman.
Because of the smell?
Yeah, and just the vibe of it.
The vibe? Yeah. What's the vibe of a banana?
Oh, come on, mate, you know.
No, I don't. I've never had someone pull over in the hard shoulder due to the vibe of a banana before. I mean, that is not something I know.
XFM. Elis James and John Robbins on XFM podcast.
This morning we're talking about odd peculiar food combos that you're maybe particular to, that your friends think are absolutely insane. And I've got a couple on here on Twitter. Ernold, I'm not sure, is that a name?
I've seen this because he tweeted me as well as Ernald Same, which is a character, a Blur character from the album The Great Escape. Voiced by Ken Livingstone.
Really?
Yeah.
Good grief. He said, you're not going to like this, banana and crisps sandwich. Ready salted only, though. I'm not an animal.
One of my favourite tweets ever is from Ian Hildebrand. I invented macaroni, cheese, chicken curry with bacon. To answer your second question, terrible. It tasted terrible. Love the show.
I remember when I was living in Bristol, quite sort of low on stocks, when I made pasta, you know, the sort of pasta parcels.
Oh, yeah.
I made them with curry sauce. And that was awful.
Well, you know, and yet you think that it would work so well, because pasta's sort of the same as rice, isn't it? In a way,
it's carbs.
It's carbs. It's a thing you put, in my case, on the right-hand side of the plate.
Also, I mean, a coronation chicken pasta would be nice, and that's curry-ish.
I love coronation chicken because it was invented for the coronation, and it just says so much about how British people ate during rationing. That it was like this, amazing treat, coronation. It's mayonnaise and mustard. Is that what coronation chicken is?
No, it's got curry powder in it.
Oh, right. I'm now showing my extreme ignorance when it comes to 1950s cooking, but I'm not ashamed to admit that.
Like the King Charles Spaniel.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
Was bred to look like King Charles.
That is a good fact.
It's a great fact.
Okay, if we're doing facts from the 1600s,
all right.
Carrots used to be purple.
Very good. There's a clock in London with a black dot on it, which on the face, which marks the time that Charles II was executed. Yeah, you know?
That sounds like one of those facts that sort of could be true, but you've just made up on the hoof.
No, it is true, and it's
How do you know that's
near
true?
Westminster, the clock.
Okay.
Because my girlfriend used to be a tour guide on the sightseeing buses.
Oh.
So you walk around London with her, and you know everything. She's amazing.
That is great, actually.
The big, on Vauxhall Bridge, you know the big red lions?
Oh, yeah.
They don't know what they're made of because it's a stone that no longer exists.
Oh, yes. Hello.
We're being a bit London-centric, Dave. Can you give us a fact about Manchester?
Its official animal is the bee.
Oh, right, okay.
Which I think has something to do with the bee that was then on the Boddington's can.
That is good. Also,
Great fact at short notice.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Especially Barry when he's been drinking for 250 hours.
Ellis James and John Robbins podcast. XFM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Ellis James and John Robbins on XFM. And it's time for our regular feature this week where we discuss bands, those big artists that maybe we think it's up for discussion whether they deserve the acclaim they get. That's right, it's time for Sacred Cows.
XFM's Sacred Cow. Sacred Cow. Sacred Cow.
And this week it's the turn of Signor Ellis James to nominate an artist. Who's it going to be, El?
It's eccentric, Icelandic, experimental nutcase Bjork.
Whoa! There she is. What's wrong with this?
Well, it's just she's won so many Grammys and MTV Awards, and I'm permanently being told that she's one of the most important women in music, not just sort of currently, but I mean of all time.
Just women, Ellis, not one of the most important musicians. I don't differentiate between gender because I am not a man from the 50s.
Okay, I only said that because I've just read an article on Rolling Stone's greatest women in music, so that is why it was in my head. I'm not a sexist, I'm a really nice guy, and I'd prefer if you stopped spreading those vile rumours.
No, Ellis is not in any way a misogynist, or he's not anti-women, because whenever he gigs with a woman, he always comes back and says, "Hey John, I gigged with a comedienne last night." And do you know what? She was actually all right.
Oh, come on, mate.
She's quite good.
I hate it when you do this. when you take one tiny slip of the tongue and then suddenly I am a very bad man with pre-war morals, whereas in reality I'm very PC and I judge everyone on their merits and on the strength of their personalities.
It's true. Elis is a big fan of Marie Curie, who he describes as one of the best female scientists. Probably, he said she wouldn't make the top 100 male scientists.
Right, anyway, let's talk about Bjork. Yeah, she's won so many Grammys and MTV awards and Brits and all sorts of things. Over the last, since she was in this Sugar Cubes, she's been so critically acclaimed, and I've just never really got it. And admittedly, I'm probably being unfair. I don't own some of her sort of landmark albums, but certainly on the strength of her singles, I've never heard one of her singles and thought, yes, I'm going to buy this record. And traditionally, a single was always a taster, is a sampler for the album, and it's just never really grabbed me by the Jaffers. And I was looking for a feminist. But I couldn't. Unless we go eunuch, but let's keep talking about Bjork.
But I don't think she necessarily fits or attempts to fit that traditional model of, you make an album, you have a single to promote it, and they're in any way sort of representative of the vibe. I think she's a much more experimental artist. I can see where you're coming from in the sense that people who like Bjork really, really like Bjork.
Yes, that's true.
And I think I would know very few people who kind of can take her or leave her. You either like it or you don't. And also, what's suspicious I find with people who really love Bjork is that you can't like all of it because it's all so different.
Yes, like Frank Zappa, I suppose, or someone like that.
You can like all of Frank Zappa,
right,
as
okay.
I do. Though
you're wearing a Frank Zappa t-shirt. That was a very stupid thing of me to say.
I will grant you this, that there are albums of his that I don't listen to very frequently, but I'm glad he made them all, and I'm glad he was so eclectic, and I think that's where I stand on Bjork. I think she's a really important figure.
Okay.
And you need someone to be making albums that surprise people, who interest people, who push the boundaries of what music is about. One of my favourite albums of hers is called Medulla. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But it's entirely vocal. It's an a cappella album, which, who else is doing that? Who else, mate?
Yeah,
Apart from,
true.
American college a cappella groups.
Barbershop quintets.
The B-flats.
Oh, what I would do for... we should get... Dave, can we get a barbershop quintet in to guest on the show just to do some jingles for us?
Yeah, not for this show, I don't think, but in the future.
Yeah, but that would be incredible. Okay, so what sort of stuff's on Medulla? Hungarian, is that what you said? Hungarian throat
Which does this sort of throat singing where you can do two notes at once. I'll give it a go. Oh no, maybe I can't. No.
Do you know what? There are Hungarian throat singers listening to this on the podcast, and they are absolutely disgusted at that insult to Hungarian throat singing. I've just never liked any of her songs, and I don't own any of her songs. So as a consequence, I would question her role or her position as a sacred cow.
FM, Elis James and John Robbins podcast.
It's Elis James and John Robbins on XFM, and we are in the heady, murky depths of a regular feature, Sacred Cow, where we discuss the superly critically acclaimed artists and decide whether we think they deserve all the hype. And what we do is we get you to tweet and text in to decide whether they are going to be allowed into the paddock of Sacred Cows alongside who we got up there. We've got R.E.M., The Doors,
Jimi Hendrix, Blur, Sex Pistols, which is bothering John weeks after the event.
I'm thinking about sneaking into the paddock late at night with a sharpened blade, a shank, and dismissing the Sex Pistols. It'll be on the local news the next day.
Yeah.
The Cow Ripper.
I didn't realise that you hated democracy, John. Russell Brand.
I hate democracy. No, I don't. Though, I did listen to an interesting discussion on the news the other day saying that business in Britain is struggling because you can't do backhanders to the government. So you can't bribe them. So if you want an airport built in China, you go and give them £10,000 or £1 million. If you the first time that a third runway at Heathrow was discussed was in 1998. That would have been done by now.
We are too well behaved in this country.
Too much red tape,
It's
mate.
always been our problem. That's why people like producer Dave lose their rag and go to Amsterdam and drink for 450 hours straight.
What did you sign in the Anne Frank visitor book?
Did you go to the Van Gogh Museum, Dave? Eh?
I'm sure she'd have been a Masterman fan.
Sorry, Dave is called Dave Masterman. Otherwise, if you don't know that, that's a very odd thing for you to say on air.
So anyway, today, to get back on topic, we're discussing Björk. And there's sort of been... The thing is, she does excite strong opinions. So we've had quite a few texts making reference to her sort of eccentric behaviour.
I like that aspect of her. I like the fact that she's a sort of a proper rock lunatic.
Yeah.
Who gets a bit punchy in airports and things, and does things that maybe normal people wouldn't do.
Yeah, so there have been sort of 3 cases of sort of major paparazzi interventions.
I wonder what I'd be like if I was being papped all the time. Excuse me, I'm trying to have lunch with my wife and son. Can you get out of my way, please? Sorry, I'm role-playing A, having a wife, B, having a son, and C, being famous and to be papped.
Also, the amount of time it takes you to eat a meal, you could just have half an hour of it where you have photos taken and they leave you alone for the other 2 hours.
Do you know what? I think I've solved the issue.
Yeah,
you should just... All famous people should just eat their dinner as slowly as I do every day, and then the paparazzi issue would no longer be a problem.
You'd end up with the paparazzi would get bored waiting for you to leave the restaurant would just go.
Yeah, or they'd start putting on weight because they'd be trying to eat as well. So then you end up with a lot of fat paps you could outrun.
Elis James and John Robbins podcast on XFM.
It's time to wrap up the sacred cow issue. We've been discussing Björk this morning. Whether she deserves a critical acclaim or and gain entry to the paddock of sacred cows, or whether she should go to the abattoir because she's unfairly venerated. We've had a lot of texts and tweets in. This is from Mike in Kettering, and he's just said, Björk, it's just a woman screaming and it all sounds mad. Lol. And I've got to be honest, we've had a lot of people who don't like Björk, but their texts and tweets are seemingly way less thought out than the people who do like Björk. And some of the grammar and punctuation has left a lot to be desired.
Gemma has texted in to say, I agree with Elis, annoyingly. She says, I can appreciate Björk is groundbreaking musician and performance artist, but her songs just aren't listenable, unlike Lady Gaga, who pushes the boundaries in a similar way, but still writes a bang-in tune.
That's a very, very good point. Thank you, Gemma.
It is a good point, but I'm still supporting Björk. I think you have to upset some people if you're doing interesting stuff.
Okay.
It's like me. I split rooms in half, mate.
Yeah.
Some people...
You upset me and I'm one of your best friends.
Some people are slightly bored, some people are mildly interested. And that's that kind of tension that allows me to just sort of break down barriers.
Right, okay. Well, whilst John sort of justifies his comedic career in his mind, I'm going to go over to hungover producer Dave to ask him to finally put this issue to bed. So, producer Dave, you've collated the texts and tweets. Is Björk abattoir or paddock bound?
Well, there's a lot of passion this morning, as we've pointed out, both for and against Björk. But I think just nicking it, Björk is going to have to go into the abattoir.
Oh, I don't think that's cool.
Well, I'm afraid the people have spoken, John. That is democracy for you.
But I'm not sure democracy works anymore.
XFM. Elis James and John Robbins on XFM podcast.
Time now for one of my favourite features of the show, textual healing.
Textual.
Textual. That's right, we ask for listeners, anyone who has a problem to call in, and we'll try and offer our own sort of unique solutions to whichever sort of issue you're facing. Obviously, you can remain anonymous if you so wish. And we have someone on the line now. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, hello.
Do you want to remain anonymous?
No, it's okay not to. Yeah, it's Tom. My name's Tom.
Right,
Hello,
okay.
Tom, mate.
Hello, Tom. Okay, well, thank you for calling into the show. What problem have you got for us this morning?
Well, it's quite an immediate problem. I'm not sure whether I should be calling you or a hospital or something, but I think I've just drank some wood. Right? I just drank some wood, and it felt all right at the time, but now I'm a bit worried.
How did you drink the wood, Tom?
I drank some wood. I was.
Don't you eat wood?
This is it, right? I've been trying to get into smoothie making, all that kind of healthy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I've loaded up the jug, and it wasn't mixing very well. So I poked the fruit and kale and all that stuff down with a wooden spoon. But I went too far with the wooden spoon, and it kind of went, and it juiced up some of the wooden spoon. Right? So I knew there was wood in it, but because I put some pineapple in there and all that, I didn't want to waste it, so I've drank it.
You didn't want to waste it. I'd have wasted that straight away.
I didn't want to waste because spinach and kale and pineapple and kiwi, it was like all kind of stuff in there.
Yeah, but it's not the Second World War. I mean, they're readily available.
Well, I'm with Tom, because the other day I spent hours making a spaghetti bolognese, and I brushed broken glass into it by mistake.
And you ate it?
Just chanced it, yeah.
That is mad.
Yeah. Well, I called you and you said it was fine. You said that as long as it was in small enough bits, my body would just digest the glass.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Tom, I have absolutely no knowledge of that phone call.
I called you up and I said...
What time was it?
Late.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine. So...
didn't I tell you about that French guy who used to eat aeroplanes?
Yes.
Yeah, because he used to grind up glass and metal and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, was he trained in any way?
Well, it's what he did for a living.
Right.
Think about the splinters, because you know that story of if you tread on a needle and it goes up through your veins into your heart? Did you ever hear that story?
No.
They always used to tell it as in textiles at school.
Oh, my God.
If you tread on a little pin, it can pop into your foot, and if it's thin enough, it'll go all the way through your veins and hit you in the heart.
Well, there was a thing, I remember watching a documentary about weird injuries, and a guy had eaten a burger off his barbecue, and he had chest pains, and he went and got an x-ray, and there was a 2-inch long, like, metal sort of hair, like a thin metal bit of wire, and they couldn't work out how this had got into his heart. And what happened is he's been brushing down the barbecue with one of those wire brushes.
Oh, no.
One of the brushes had come off. It got stuck into a patty.
Wow.
He ate it, and it worked its way through his sort of throat lining into his actual man's heart.
Wow.
So, Tom, did you carry on blending the smoothie so that the wood would be tiny?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought if I keep blending it for long enough, then the wood will be right small bits.
Do you know what? I think you're probably fine. If not, what you could do is get an x-ray, film it, and then if you get on one of those kind of 999 A&E shows, you get 250 quid for the talking head.
Yes.
Does wood show up on an x-ray?
Good call. You'll have to have a CAT scan. You'll have to have like a full body
like
scan.
An MRI or something.
Yeah, MRI or something.
Okay, well, to be honest, mate, I think, Tom, that as long as you sort of smoothed your smoothie enough or shredded it, you probably will be fine. But also, you're now unable to call NHS Direct or your GP because this is too embarrassing a problem. Because if you're unwilling to throw away a bit of spinach, kale and pineapple because you just feel bad about the waste, then to be honest, I think you've got what's coming to you.
I've been too cheap.
You're too much of a miser to deserve good health.
Or you can pen the best smoothie diet plan for beavers in existence. So, good luck, Tom. I hope you can maybe let us know how you get on. I hope that we don't read about this in the paper.
Yeah.
And everything's all right.
Imagine if I died now and that's what the story would say. He called a radio station. Asked them what to do.
Hey, Tom, well, it would probably be good for our podcast numbers, the
Yes.
number of downloads. So, I mean, if you wouldn't mind taking one for the team, mate.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks for calling in, mate, and hope you're all right.
Yes.
Thanks for your help, guys.
Yeah. Hope you're well. Thank you for calling. That was Tom, ladies and gentlemen.
XFM. Elis James and John Robbins on XFM podcast.
It's now time for our favourite and our regular feature. It's Winner Plays On, guys, and it's a special Winner Plays On because Alan Partridge and I are going for an unprecedented 5 Winner plays ons in a row, which means we keep the cup. We get on an open bus around Norwich and Bristol, obviously travelling back via the M25 and the M4. It is quite a sod of a route, but the cup and the fans will line the M4 corridor from Reading to Cheveley.
Robbins.
From, what are the other services?
Lee Delamere, Membry.
From Lee Delamere to Membry.
Newport Pagnell.
That's not on the M4.
No, it's got Julie's Pantry, though. That is a direct quote from Alan Partridge.
Oh, yeah, I know. I hope you haven't spoiled the question. Anyway, so Elis, remind the listeners what. So basically, we ask each other 5 questions on specialist topics. If we win, we get to keep the topic and play a track. Elis lost last week, so this week he's answering on
Blur. I've decided to go slightly less obscure than last week, which was the life and times of pre-World War I Welsh boxer Jimmy Wiles.
and I'm obviously doing Partridge. Elis, what's your track?
My track is going to be Beetlebum by Blur. Please let me play it, Dave. Please. What's your track going to be, John?
Street Fighting Man by the Rolling Stones.
That is a tune. Fair play.
So let's flip a coin. Elis?
Tails for Wales, please.
It's Tails for Wales.
I am feeling pretty confident, actually. I'm going to go first with Blur, if that's all right.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So 5 questions. I can't remember the last time Elis won. So just be nice for regular listeners.
Tony Blair was Prime Minister.
So 5 questions on Blur, starting now. Under what name did the band members form in 1988?
Seymour.
Oh, interrupting me, which is rude, but I like it. Well, this bodes well. What band did Blur support on their first UK tour in 1990?
The Inspiral Carpets.
The Cramps.
Oh.
How many number 1 albums did Blur have?
Parklife, The Great Escape, Blur, Think Tank. Parklife, Great Escape, Blur, Think Tank. 13. I would say 5.
Correct. Complete the lyric. Holy man tiptoed his way across the Ganges, the sound of magic music in his ears.
I can't pass.
That's On Your Own by Blur, and I won't tell you what it was as a punishment. What was Blur's highest charting US single, hitting 55 on the Billboard chart?
Song 2.
Correct! So, for Elis, it's a whopping 3. Imagine that, Elis, 3
Don't
questions
patronise
right.
me, mate. Right, okay.
Of the last weeks, I felt sorry for you and felt that maybe I wouldn't mind if Partridge got beat, but now you're looking happy with yourself. I really want to absolutely batter you.
Why do you hate me being happy?
And I know you've gone deep with Partridge.
Oh, right. Oh, have I? Okay. Producer Dave, you ready with the tense music?
Yes.
He's always ready.
Yeah.
He's always ready.
To ask
Finger
him
on the
every week.
trigger. Okay. I'm just trying to build up a sense of suspense, that's all. Okay, here we go. Question 1 on Alan Partridge. John, according to Partridge creator Armando Iannucci, what is the sordid item Alan was so keen to keep secret in his hotel room drawer?
It's got to be pornography.
It is pornography. What's the title?
Ladyboys.
No, it's Alan's copy of Fat Women on Toilets magazine. Question 2. Where did the inspiration come for Alan's autobiography, I, Partridge?
Tony Blackburn's autobiography?
No, very close. No, Paul Daniels' own tell-all book, Under No Illusion.
Okay.
Question number 3. Alan is on Twitter at This Is Partridge. Who is the only person he follows? I love this.
Jeremy Clarkson.
No, Shakira.
I actually knew that.
Alan is very proud of his league table for lollipop ladies. Who does he think should have the right to stop traffic?
Anthea Turner.
No. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
The army in times of national emergency and traffic lights. Where did Alan begin DJing?
Hospital radio.
Yes. Name the station and the hospital.
Norfolk Hospital. St Mary's Hospital. I have no idea.
Radio Smile at St Luke's.
Oh, goodness. Have I got none?
Yeah.
It's the sound of a Welshman's joy. I knew you'd go super deep.
Glory be, Gareth Bale has powered Wales to victory at the 2018 FA Cup. That doesn't make sense. World Cup. I've gone mad. I've gone mad with joy. Gareth Bale. I'm so proud to be from Wales.
Don't get to keep the cup.
Oh.
No open top bus ride for this guy.
Right, well, there'll be more Blur questions for me next week. And incredibly, we get to play my favourite track. This is uncharted territory for me. So we're going to play Beetlebum by Blur. You're listening to XFM.
Elis James and John Robbins podcast. XFM.
Welcome back to XFM. It's Elis James and John Robbins here, broadcasting to you from foggy London town. And we're sort of going to do a few more of your food texts and tweets because the response has been overwhelming. And also I have dug out on my phone. I'm quite a fan of I went through an odd phase of eating strange food combinations. I put on some weight. I'm not going to deny that. And when me and my girlfriend first met, she found this quite disturbing. So I've got a photo, and there's one of a creation I had, which was Ryvita with cottage cheese and Bombay mix sprinkled on top, which is sort of a lovely little canapé, if you ask me. But the big thing I got into, which I think caused quite a few pounds to be put on, was crushing up salt and vinegar crisps and putting them on top of beans on toast. And also in Scotland, you get this wonderful chip sauce, which is it's not dissimilar to vinegar mixed with brown sauce. And it's really, you can't get it anywhere else.
I know the stuff.
And it's absolutely lovely.
They are mad for it up in Scotland. Talking of beans on toast, Kate W., my cousin puts mayonnaise on baked beans on toast, which I consider evil and wrong. I agree with you, Kate. Although we've had loads of texts and tweets on this. Helen Sewell, I put vinegar and barbecue sauce on vegetables, fish, basically everything.
Well, I think she would like the chip shop sauce you get in Edinburgh, because is not dissimilar to what it tastes like. I mean, I put vinegar on most things. I
like vinegar. I used to love going to your house when you used to live in Bristol, though, because it'd be late at night and you'd be eating a pork pie and English mustard and drinking ale and listening to Bonnie Prince Billy. I say, so what do you do most nights then? And you just go, this. Yeah. I just do this, Elis.
That's not a special occasion.
No.
I was listening on Pancake Day. I was listening to the radio, and one of the DJ I was listening to said that he has his pancakes with vinegar and sugar on, and then quite staunchly said, "Don't knock it till you've tried it."
I'm knocking it.
Are you knocking it?
I love pancakes, though.
What do you have on your pancakes?
Jam, strawberry jam, or sugar and lemon. Strawberry jam on pancakes is fine. That's normal.
Yeah, it's just I've never heard anyone have it before.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, savoury pancakes are a lot nicer than sweet pancakes.
Yeah, with bolognese in.
What?
Yeah, bolognese in a pancake.
Really?
My mum used to make that, yeah. Bolognese and a pancake, grated cheese on top. It's basically a working class enchilada.
FM, Elis James and John Robbins podcast.
WBTXFM, welcome back to XFM. YL2EJAJR, you're listening to John Robbins and Elis.
Time you must have saved in that. Fantastic. Just so we can fit in even more great chat and banter.
Yeah, so we've been talking about your bizarre food combinations. Marmite is currently trending. Elis, hit me.
Marmite and marmalade.
I thought you were going to say Marmite and Marmite then.
No.
Just double Marmite.
Double Marmite.
Marmite and marmalade. I'm not... I kind of... Bizarrely, I am the exception that proves the rule. I can sort of take or leave Marmite.
Oh, really?
I don't... I prefer Vegemite.
Do you?
When you can get your hands on that stuff. I said that in a sexy way.
I saw a very experimental comedian once, because he was performing a gig I was doing, and my mum was in the audience. And my mother asked my girlfriend, she said, will I like this comic? And as he said, well, he's very experimental. He's a bit like Marmite, really. And my mum went, oh, I like Marmite. But also Marmite with beans on toast.
I can sort of see that more. Dave's got an odd thing about beans on toast, haven't you, Dave?
I enjoy beans on toast with melted cheese, which is
Nice,
fine.
which every
Classic.
sane human being
Yeah.
would like.
Absolute
But
classic.
I'm just suggesting why not throw in some tuna, because it really does
What?
add a lovely bit of
But what-
flavour.
well, you're suggesting that, have you done it?
I've done it lots.
No.
Started at university, but
Well, we've
still
all
this is-
given up a lot of things we tried
know,
out at university.
It's
Dave.
time for it's time for experimenting. But I'm with you, Dave. I'm not going to eat
Tuna
it.
and beans.
But I love the way that John is full of these strange combos, which he'll defend to the hilt. And then as soon as you chuck one in of your own that he disagrees with, suddenly Robbins has the moral high ground, which I think is very unfair.
But that's how that's how trailblazers operate. They see no other path but their own.
Robbins, Bjork, John the Baptist, the big three.
This is why we got a comment on our iTunes podcast review saying I was arrogant. That you were nice and well spoken. I'm just being cool, guys. Do download the podcast.
Do download the podcast. I love the way that you genuinely think that you're sort of this sort of pioneering, trailblazing maverick.
I don't know in what area.
I just life in general. You're always giving me little tips. Just because you know how to work Time Machine on the Mac.
Just because you haven't got an external hard drive.
Of course I've got an external hard drive.
What do you mean, of course?
Because if I lose my computer, I will panic and then I will get over it and I will have
This
to buy
coming
another
from
one.
a man who, in his own words, and I quote, does not open his mail.
No, I don't open
Which is
my...
absolutely off the charts. Who
I
doesn't open their
don't
mail?
open my mail because I am like a soaring eagle who is finding its own
who's
way.
behind with his admin and could well be being chased for money from an eagle phone company who's getting final demand letters from bigger eagles who will come round and batter on his nest. That's why you need to open your mail. You're a grown man. You're, what, 38?
No, not 38. I'm not 38 and I'm not a sexist, but I am a soaring spiritual eagle that is, I am more in tune with important things.
Like what?
You know, my feelings. And I haven't got time to get bogged down with the admin that normal people have when they're opening letters from Orange and things from Lambeth Council to say that they're changing bin day, whatever. If it's important, someone will tell me, for crying out loud. I don't
could
open my mail
not
because I'm
live
cool.
like that.
I know you couldn't.
Why are the bins overflowing? Oh, they changed the bin day. What? Who? Why? When?
Oh, I got a letter about it. Whatever, man. I was writing another psychedelic riff on my 52 reissue Strat. Leave me alone.
Elis James and John Robbins podcast on XFM.
Exactly. You've just listened to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Lots of fun treats in there. Maybe not as varied as YouTube, Elis. I'm sorry. But
It's just so big. I've only got into it the last couple of days. There's just loads of it. It's almost never ending. But I think I will finish it because I'm really into it now.
have you ever uploaded anything to YouTube?
No, of course not.
What? No, never, ever.
How on earth did you do that? You go work for a TV company, haven't you? If you're gonna
It's
do
not made by the same people.
that. Right.
YouTube's not a station.
Oh, I've never uploaded a photo onto Facebook, actually.
Yeah, you have.
I don't think so. Oh, yeah, picture me with a beard, but that's the only one. The rest is all me being tagged.
You can also, if you want to find out what Ellis's tour poster from 4 years ago looked like, check out his website. Just been under construction for longer than, the Freedom Tower in New York.
Yeah, because I'm a cool guy who's scared of the internet. The other thing is I have uploaded photos onto Twitter. Not very many, but one of them is of my favourite stand, which was at the Dell, Southampton's old ground, and it's a picture from the 1960s, and I tweeted it to my Southampton fan friend saying, "Look at this stand, do you miss this?" And he went, "Yeah." And I thought, the internet is brilliant.
Maybe there's an argument for saying the internet's too varied, if that's the kind of content you're...
Well, if YouTube is anything to go by, definitely. I mean, it's huge.
All right, well, doubtless this conversation will carry on for hours between me and Elis, but to save you from having to endure it, we will now leave you and do tune in every week. It's live from 10 till 1. Okay, thanks very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Ta-da.
If you like this podcast, why not check out some of the other great ones available to download at xfm.co.uk. XFM. Josh Widdicombe.
We get more fainting texts.
Great.
Yeah. The only time, this is from Paul W. Doctor. The only time I fainted was after sucking helium out of a balloon at the opening of a branch of Shoe Express. Such a vivid picture you paint there, Paul W. Doctor.
Music that rocks.